Good morning. So today is the start of a new project. We're going to get started with the fence posts in the back pasture for the horses, and it's going to be slow. I don't know if we'll get all of it done in one video or not, but basically today we're going to start with just getting the post hole digger put on the tractor, and we're just going to go in a big circle and start digging holes. The plan is to use the fence posts, or the trees that we cut. So most of this is going to be trees. Might need to supplement some T-posts in there. Haven't quite figured that out, but we're just going to get started and see how far we can go. So let's get to it. So you can see this is the area we tilled. We're going to kind of follow along that. It goes out a ways over here, and then we'll cut across. So it's going to be a lot of holes to dig. It's going to take quite a bit of time, but we just got to get started. So we got the post hole digger set up to the tractor. It's lined up over the first spot, or the first hole. We did have a stake there. You probably can't see it, but that's where that first one's going to go. And then you can see here we have all the flags marking out the next holes. There's going to be one bend in this little stretch that we have here, but yeah, let's see how it goes. So here's the first look at some of the posts that are pretty much installed. They're not fully compacted or anything like that, but they're in the hole and they're standing on their own. They're definitely not perfect. They're not straight. They're not the same height and not the same width, but it's going to work well for us. It should be plenty strong, and it's way better than spending a bunch of money on T-posts or even something fancier than that. So yeah, happy to have a little bit done. So here's just another look at those same posts that I was showing you, and from there we just kind of kept on going. There's a little bit of a turn, but yeah, it's going quite a ways. So we have a small issue. Everything you can see kind of right here in the middle is the low spot. Right here it's high, and over there it's high, but everything here is pretty low. So kind of weird. We don't know if we hit a spring or if it's just rain water that's just holding in the soil, but these holes are totally filled up with water. Like I was saying, this is the low spot here. If we look a little bit higher, you can see that this dirt is definitely more dry, but even inside of the hole there is still a little bit of water down there at the bottom, not too much. And then yeah, once you get over here to this lower spot that's kind of right in between the two humps, you can see all of that is just mud. It's not even really dirt anymore, and this hole is way more filled up with water. That's a lot of water. It's pretty much at the same level as that pond,
So I'm kind of just wondering if maybe that pond is actually a spring-fed pond and we just didn't realize that. So, kind of interesting. Don't know what we're going to do. So we're starting the second side now. Luckily this side is pretty much a straight shot, so you can see all the flags are set out, and it's going to get a whole lot easier now that we're not dealing with angles. So from this corner we're going to this last flag, and then there will be sort of a small left-hand turn, and we'll go to that pine tree right there. Okay, so from that corner we got to here. Unfortunately, pretty much from here all the way down to the pines, like I said, we were planning on going to that pine tree right there. Just on the other side of that is our property line. Unfortunately, this whole area in here is all basically a swamp right now. So we really don't know if it's a spring or if it's just because we recently got rain. But I mean, even way over here, there's water in the bottom of these holes. So I was walking back to the barn. We were going to pack it up for today, day one of doing T-posts, or doing posts, and this hole right here, oh my goodness, just look how high the water is. Excuse me. I mean, that's maybe a foot down from the top, and the post hole digger is 3 feet. So that means there's 2 feet of water that filled up in that hole. So we're obviously not going to be putting any posts down in there until we figure out whether or not it's going to dry up. We were planning on using all wood like we have over here, but that probably won't work because those things will just rot so quick. So kind of a little dilemma. Don't know what we're going to do yet, but we will get it figured out. Okay, so you can see here, this is the barn, and this is the first post that's going to connect with the corral panel. Comes over here, takes that left, and then kind of comes this way. I know it's kind of hard to tell, I'm moving fast. We left that road there, like I said, that way we don't have to drive in the pasture, so we can access the back of the property. And we head out towards the duck pond, then take another left, and that corner is kind of where it splits the front, or the splits the back pasture in half. And this is the last pole that we've installed so far. We're about halfway, but we still got to go all the way over to those pines there, and then this way is our property line, so we still have a ways to go. Okay, so I'm standing in the back pasture now, just on kind of one of the high spots. I wanted to give you a different angle of the actual horse pasture. So everything you see on the left side, you can kind of see the posts. That's what we've done so far. That corner there is the duck pond area, and then it comes over to this one single post here. So that's as far as we've got so far. And then obviously we still have to go all the way across from there through this area here, and then it'll go into this pine tree area. Well, it's actually going to be right in front of that pine tree area. You can't really see it. The corner's going to be right in there, and then we'll stay on the outside of those pine trees and make it back to the barn. good thing about harvesting our own wood for these fence posts is we're kind of killing two birds with one stone. So I'm standing in the pasture, and this will be the road. So that way we don't have to drive in the pasture. We left a road this way. But eventually all this stuff in here we want to clear out and start pushing the pasture that way. Or we're going to do the orchard or something over here. So we're starting to cut down all these sweet gums that are just, you know, a waste. So as we're getting fence posts, we are also starting to slowly clear away this whole area back here. So you can see this got opened up quite a bit. We've cut down a whole lot of stumps, or a whole lot of trees, left a whole lot of stumps. So we made a small change. We pretty much had put all the posts in throughout the whole pasture, but we decided to go and cut down some bigger trees for each of the four corners. So these three posts are much larger in diameter, as you can see, compared to these ones right there. So these are going to be H-frames going both ways. So we'll have a support beam that goes, you know, connecting these two and then connecting these two, and then that way when we pull the barbed wire each direction, it'll have good stabilizing braces to pull that tension. This kind of just shows you how big it is from one side to the other. So we obviously have one corner here, the other corner is right over there. That's as far as I can zoom in. But that one post that's kind of standing out in the middle there is the other corner. Moving on to the next part of the project, we have this set of pine trees here that is actually part of the horse pasture, as you can see there. So Phoenix will have access to this. We've obviously been dealing with these bark beetles, and we've been having a bunch of wind. So a lot of these pine trees that are dying are just pretty much falling over. Got to make sure we get it all cleaned up, because Phoenix will be able to access this set of pine trees at all times. So we don't want them in here breaking legs. So I'm going to hop on the tractor and just start bringing stuff out here into the pasture, and we'll get a burn pit going. So let's get to it.
I'm working on that old steamboat and learned to ride the steam. When my feet had touched dry land, how happy I did feel. Been saving every penny for to make up through the fall. Working for that dollar, but it never adds up at all. Coming around the river bank where the old train whistle sang. The very next thing you hear from me, I've been tied to a ball and chain. Well, come this time tomorrow, reckon I don't know where I'll be. But if it wasn't for that old sheriff, I'd be back in Tennessee. Playing cards and crap games, not looking for the score. And if I ever get back home again, I'll never roam no more.
Strongest man alive. So you can see here, we've got a decent sized burn pit going. I'm sure it doesn't look too big in the video, but it's actually pretty big. It's probably a good 12 to 15 feet tall there. And this is the first look at the pines with some of the work that we've done. Not fully cleared out yet, but this first row looks pretty decent so far. In this row, we still have that one that you can kind of see there in the back is leaning over. Yeah. We'll have to get that later. And as we go this way, you can still see some more stuff on the ground. Mostly just kind of small stuff that we'll have to pick up by hand. So it won't be too hard, but there's still some stuff leaning over there as well. So that's just kind of the first look. And here, this is pretty much after we've done a fair amount of clearing. You know, you can still see some brush on the ground and stuff, but we had to push over probably 5 to 10 trees, which is why there's such a big open area right here. It looks a lot different than it did before. You can kind of see in this first row, it doesn't really look like a row. This second row, kind of the same thing. There's patches on both sides, but you can kind of see what they used to look like. So aside from the brush on the ground, each row is relatively cleared out, and yeah, it's looking pretty good. So can't wait to get it fully cleaned up. So I know that video ended kind of abruptly. I wasn't able to film the final little steps of doing the posts and clearing out the pines, but both of those projects did pretty much get done. So all the posts are in place. We just gotta get the barbed wire put up now. All the pine tree area did get cleared out. Again, I just wasn't able to film it, but the horse pasture is getting really close to being done. Next will come the horse barn, and then we have a bunch of other fun stuff coming up in the near future. So make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell. It helps us out a lot, and we're really happy to have you. So we'll see you on the next video, and hope y'all have a good one.